Today is Cancer Survivors Day. And when I looked up the meaning of it, I felt a little strange because uh, I want to be sensitive to those that didn't survive cancer. And obviously, their families and friends. And I thought, what is Cancer Survivors Day about? And I looked it up, and it kind of changed my mind about doing a video. Um, it says, I'll just read it. It says, it's a celebration for those who have survived, an inspiration for those recently diagnosed, and a gathering of support for families and an outreach to the community. And I thought, well, we could all use some of that. But I do have some thoughts on cancer survivors because I think many people think, and surely many people experience cancer, and when they're cancer free, that's kind of it, it's over. But for many of us, being cancer free is just the beginning. Um, And I had two minds of how I wanted to present this. Did I want to present this on a day that I can't get out of bed? Or did I want to present this in a full face of makeup and hair and, um, show that side? Because there are definitely two sides of me regarding this. Um, for me, I had breast cancer. I had a mastectomy. I had uh, chemo and radiation. And then I was put on medication to help prevent breast cancer recurrence. And that medication um, has essentially ruined my life in a way. In a way, it's trying to preserve my life, and in a way, it's ruined my life. As many people report, taking these anti-hormonal drugs takes away your quality of life, whether you're on tamoxifen or anastrozole. I was on both. Pardon me. And it essentially makes me bedridden. I mean, I can get out of bed, I can walk around the house, but going out into the world and walking for any kind of distance, I am in too much pain. My bones hurt. Everything hurts. I have joint pain, um, muscular pain, bone pain, nerve pain. I have all of these different kinds of pain, and they're not really managed well because they can't be managed. The doctors do what they can, but essentially, if you have these side effects, you have them forever, or as long as you take the medication. And I'm supposed to take this medication that I'm on for 5 years. I've completed 1 year. This medication has kind of destroyed my joie de vivre, I guess you'd say. Um, I have been, I have all these strange kind of pains and side effects, and I have gone down every single rabbit hole you can imagine to try and get some relief from this pain. But uh, cancer survivors, I kind of feel, are lost in the mix between uh, patients that are currently fighting cancer and patients that are no longer fighting cancer. but not too much is done about those in the middle, especially regarding to pain. When I talk to my oncologist about pain, he sends me to pain management, and pain management just wants to give me a nerve block and send me out the door. Um, so where I stand today is I take synthetic morphine to help manage the pain. Now, if I took enough to actually make the pain go away, I'm high as fuck, non-functional, basically. And while sure, that can be fun, I don't want to live my life high in bed. um, so I've gone down other rabbit holes, thinking I might have some type of inflammatory problem because, like, my hands, everything on me is swollen. My hand, I can't wear my rings anymore. My fingers are too swollen. So I thought maybe I might have some kind of rheumatoid problem. But there are no inflammatory markers in my blood at all, even though my body is completely inflamed. I have no no markers. So I'm currently trying to experiment around this synthetic opioid plus less strong plus things like Tylenol or something, so that I can take enough of the opioid to help take the edge off the pain, and maybe like a Tylenol would be sufficient to get me through. But anyway, it's I think a lot of people think that when I tell people that I've had breast cancer, they're very concerned at first, obviously. Are you okay now? Is everything good now? And I know what their question is. They're just not outright saying it, but are you cancer free? And my response is yes, yeah, I am cancer free and everything's good, which isn't the whole truth. I am cancer free, but I am living in chronic pain uh, plus another host of problems. Uh, and I end up taking medication because of the side effects of another medication. And so it's this domino effect. I take this medication that will hopefully give me an edge on the breast cancer returning or not returning. But the side effects are so horrible that I have to take 3 other meds to counteract those side effects. And then those 3 other meds have their own side effect issues. Actually, it's just a domino effect. And I'm just putting more and more poison into my body to try and stave off all of these other issues. So I made a very, 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 very difficult decision, and that is to stop that initial medication, the anastrozole, the hormone blocker. It was something that I have been thinking about for a very long time, and so I didn't make the decision in a vacuum. But I pretty much, there were 2 things that I needed to look at. I needed to look at my quality of life, but I also needed to look at my pathology, meaning how likely is it that this particular breast cancer would come back. And it can come back anywhere. And the doctors are able to tell if this is a new cancer or is this a kind of rebirth of the old cancer, no matter where it shows up. If it shows up in the liver, they can tell that it was the breast cancer that is now in the liver. So I needed to look at my pathology to see how much at risk was I for the cancer returning. And I fall into the very low risk section of the likelihood of this particular cancer returning. I kind of did everything I did for treatment as quote unquote insurance. My breast surgeon meets with all of the other kind of breast surgeons in the hospital every once a week, and they all vote on each other's cases, kind of like Dr. House in a way. And they all look at one case at a time, going around the room, however many cases they have, and they all vote on whether this person needs this kind of treatment or that or whatever. And I had already had at this point 2 lumpectomies. First lumpectomy, and then they didn't get the margins, so 3 weeks later had the second lumpectomy. They also pulled some lymph nodes during that. And everyone around that table said I should get a mastectomy at this point, except for one holdout doctor who thought that the lumpectomy would be quote unquote just fine. So I obviously decided to go with a mastectomy because I wanted to lower my chances of this breast cancer returning. Had I just had a lumpectomy, my chances would have gone up. So I decided on the mastectomy. Yeah. And then chemo and radiation I also did for insurance. Especially the radiation I really did as insurance. They found 2 out of the first 2 lymph nodes. They found in one of the lymph nodes a micro dot, basically, of suspicious material, cancer. And so when I went in and had my mastectomy, they also removed the rest of the lymph nodes. So I had a total of 35 lymph nodes removed from under my right arm. And so that was another kind of insurance. And then had the chemo and did the radiation and all of that just to make sure that this whole area was like a nuclear zone. But I also had a test called an OncoScore, which is fairly brand new, and it's where they take all the pathology of how many tumors you had, what were the sizes, what type of cancer were those tumors, whatever, and they shove it all through an algorithm, and it pops out a number between 1 and 100. And obviously, the higher the number, the riskier the cancer is. And anything over 25 is basically you need to do everything. 18 to 25 is kind of a border area, and then 17 and below is very low risk. And mine was a 13, so that did give me it gave me a lot, actually, of comfort. So my OncoScore was, or is, 13, which gives me a lot of peace of mind. So my overall chances of recurring breast cancer are very low. Now, this medication that I'm taking is supposed to give me a 15% leg up, even more insurance, 15% more insurance. Well, when you add up my already low risk, and then add 15% onto that, it's not for me. For me, it is not enough to continue to live like this. I would rather have a healthy, responsive, pain-free life with the smallest risk of breast cancer, rather than living how I'm living today with an additional 15% 15% chance tacked onto that. It just doesn't make any sense for me. I worry about what my body, what my mind, what my emotions. Uh, I worry about all of my mental health, mental state of health. I worry about what all of that looks like 4 years down the road. But I don't worry about, oh, I might have breast cancer again, especially because I've already had breast cancer. I am checked out thoroughly every 6 months. And that will change soon to every year. But nevertheless, if cancer does reoccur, I am certain that it will be found early, and that makes all the difference in the world. So I decided to stop this drug, and I did so without the advice of my doctor. But I will tell him the next time that I see him, my oncologist, I will tell him the next time I see him that I have stopped it. Because after all, it's my choice. And I didn't want to wait until I saw him next. And truthfully, I didn't want him to try and persuade me. I just wanted to do it. So I stopped it about 10 days ago. And I haven't seen any noticeable effects one way or the other yet. But I've been taking the medication for a year. Before that, I was on tamoxifen, so 2 years of this stuff. I'm hoping that with time, my side effects will diminish. I hope I'm not stuck with many of these for forever. One of which is a very minor thing, but I've developed a facial tic, and you'll notice it in my videos where I do this a lot. And it's annoying to me. Just, but I move on, and there's nothing I can do about it. But I'm still taking all of the pain medications because I need to, because the pain is still here. Anyway, I guess I'm rambling. I wanted to talk about Cancer Survivor Day and what it means to me and what it doesn't. And it certainly does not mean that survivors I don't know, right? It sounds weird. It does sound weird. But it isn't about neglecting people that haven't survived cancer. It's nothing about that. It's more about raising awareness of the ongoing problems that cancer survivors have and aren't really talked about. And there's a whole lot of us out there that are struggling so badly. And it is hard to talk about because you don't want to wave this big flag. Hey, look at me, look at me. Surviving cancer should be enough. But life is real hard. for many of us. And you wouldn't know it because, we put on brave faces, or you don't see us at all because we don't or we can't interact with the world outside. So I wanted to make this video about Cancer Survivors Day so that you can understand what it means, and I know that it is not exclusionary to those and their loved ones who did not survive cancer. It does not have anything to do with that, but it's just to raise awareness that when you imagine what cancer-free looks like, I am 2 years from my from the end of my treatment, chemo, radiation. I'm 2 years out from my chemo, and I'm still an absolute wreck. So I decided to do this video also like this, so that both sides of my story. This side, where I can't get out of bed for at least 2 hours until the pain medications kick in. And also the vibrant, colorful, outgoing, outspoken person that I also am and love. But it's hard to get there. It's very hard to get there. Anyway, thanks for letting me ramble on a bit. If you have any questions about Survivors Day or the organization behind it, the National Cancer Survivors Day, I'll put links down below, and you can check that out in the event that you or any loved one needs any kind of support. And thanks so much for listening. Sorry, I'm a bit of a mess and rambling, but I've only had my one coffee and the pain medicine hasn't kicked in yet. Anyway, thanks for listening, and happy cancer survivors.